Good evening, boys and girls. Good morning, good afternoon, no matter where in the world you might be. Thank you so much for joining us once again. This is the Highbury squad. It's Tuesday. It's not the Tuesday-ish club. As you saw on Twitter, we had to shift gears, but we got something lined up for you tonight. It's the show where you ask us anything, and the show just like a Seinfeld episode about nothing. But here we go.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to the Highbury squad. Joining me again. Missed him yesterday for a little bit, but he showed up at the end in true fashion, banging it in the back of the net. Super Kev and Campbell.
Hey. Squaddies, good to be back with you after yesterday. At ease.
At ease, everybody. The usual suspects in chat, Super Kev. The usual suspects in chat. Right, I'm a bit parched. It's very hot here. It's busy day, busy morning. I'm just going to take a sip of...
What is that?
Kombucha. Do you like kombucha, Kev?
What is it? I don't know what it is.
It's a effervescent drink. It's all the rage. It's been all the rage for a few years now. It's become very popular. It's like a macrobiotic. Has a little bit of a zip in it. It'd be good.
Sophie, hold on
a second.
Sophie.
It'd be good for you.
Good for me. Sophie, have you not seen me? I am the epitome of health. Trust me on that one. I don't need no kombucha or sambuca. I'm just fine. Trust me. I don't need any of that.
Oh my God. I don't need no kombucha or sambuca.
Or sambuca, yeah.
So, do you know what I find myself sometimes when I'm giving you nutritional advice? I'm like, just stop the madness. What are you doing? You're talking to Super Kevin Campbell here. He's going to bruck your neck, man.
For the kombucha, you could keep it, my darling. No problem. You can have that.
Oh, my God. So funny. Oh, gosh. Kev, it's amazing, though, that... You haven't played in years, but man, you're still in great shape. Is that a natural thing? Do you have to still work hard at it?
No, but still train. No, you've got to. I think you've got to. Here's the thing, you see, Sophie. When you've played high-level football for a number of years, and then you stop, it's very difficult to maintain your health by doing things, eating and drinking the same way you used to. And you don't train as much. It's impossible. It's an impossible conundrum. So, as you know, I used to drink. I don't drink anymore. I stopped at 50, stopped drinking at 50, alcohol. And you still see me with a beer, but it'd probably be a zero beer or something like, or water or whatever. But I still train. And I've got a best friend called Burpees. My best friend is Burpees.
I actually just did an internal burpee.
Oh no! Don't say that. It's that kombucha. It's that kombucha. I definitely don't want none of that.
I don't know what it is, Kev. It's the heat. My hair's gone all curly from the sun. It's a hot mess, right? Not even a hot mess. It's just a mess right now. But anyway, go on.
No. Oh my God. Yeah, no. It's maintaining your health is important, especially during lockdown when we were doing the shows, etc.
Yeah. We
were doing something for obviously the fan base, etc. And it was helping us as well, Soph. But you've got to train. You've got to look after yourself. For anybody who's listening, you've got to do something, even to go for a walk or whatever. You've got to do a little something for yourself every day. And that's what I try and do, a little something for me every day.
Yeah, no. And I hear you in the back of I hear your voice, when I was out on my trip recently and I was swimming and I was like, oh God, I'm going to die right now if I don't stop. But then I could hear I think I said to you on the show, come on, Soph, you got one more lap in you. But then when I do the lap, then you go, if you've done this one, you
could
got
do one more. You can.
It's so good. I love it. Let's see. Hi, Kevin. So something Arteta. Okay, we'll get to that in a minute. Brilliant for Tyrese yesterday. Another under 23 appearance. We're all going to give a shout out, round of applause. Coming back from that injury, gets a goal as well, and they win. Super Kev. That must have been real special last night to see the journey continue and the comeback.
Yeah, it was special. He spent a long time out. Obviously played his first game last Monday. And then got drafted into play yesterday, played 80 minutes, set one up and scored. And had a good game, felt nothing of the injury as well. You know, touch wood and all that kind of thing. So all you do, as a dad, all you do is hope that he has no recurrence of an injury. And you just want him to go and fulfill the potential that he's got, really. That's all you want.
That's beautiful. I love it. And you were up on that train, boom, right up there. Just brilliant stuff. And Alexander says, Kevin is like the father I never wanted to disappoint. You know.
No, do you know what, Alexander? I'll tell you this much. And this is the gospel truth, Sophie. If Ty tomorrow turned around and said he doesn't want to play football no more, I'm cool with that. I am cool with that because it's about happiness. Isn't it? It's about happiness. You've got to be happy. And if your children ain't happy, what's the point? As a parent, that's all you want them to be, is happy.
Totally. Yeah.
So I don't judge people. I just try and be there. If he needs help and assistance, he asks me. Most of the time, I just go as a fan because, you know, I'm happy to see him.
Yeah. No, that's, I love
Thanks
it.
them,
and
Sec.
we love
Yeah, they do.
him.
Yeah, they do.
They do need him, Kev. They really do. He is a good dad, Taib. You're not wrong there. And well said, Super Kev. Everyone was, you know, sending well wishes to Ty and everyone kind of watching him.
He got them. He received them yesterday. So thank you, everybody. Really appreciate it.
Awesome stuff. Okay. Oh, Jake, we don't want your diet. 3 beers in the morning during a hike, tomatoes, bacon, 6 cigarettes per... Perfect. How old are you? I'm surprised you've made it this far with that diet.
Well, do you know what, Sophie? It works for some people.
It does.
Some people that works for.
It does.
But I can tell you this much: it don't work for me. That don't work for me.
It don't work if you're a professional footballer and you've had the career you've had. That's for sure. Magic Mike's in the house. You were in a pool and didn't... I know. Mike always sends me selfie videos when he's in a pool drinking, and I did not reciprocate on my trip. I do apologise.
Yeah, but there you go, Sophie. That's him. That's not you. You see?
That's right.
That's Magic. That's not you. So...
other than doing the show, Kev, I really switched off,
Good.
you know, on that trip. Mo said he watched some old school Kevin Campbell highlights last night and realised KC won several jersey numbers at Arsenal, 7, 10, 11 and 14. This is a good place to start. Kev, did you have a favourite?
No.
And did you wear all those numbers? Did you wear...
And more.
Yeah. Go on,
And
Kev.
more. I didn't have a favourite. My favourite was putting the jersey on. So I don't care which number. The truth, I didn't care which number it was, so just wearing that jersey for me is everything.
Kev, you know, yes. I've had pipe dreams, right? I think I told you when I was younger, I tried out for Arsenal ladies, but it was before the time of modern day footballers where you can be small. Messi changed everything for small people like me, didn't he? Let's be honest. He reinvented how people saw footballers. I remember there was a player who played for Tottenham and he was tiny. Not Dominguez. What was his name? Do you remember? In the 90s. And it was really kind of, I know it's Tottenham, but people used to sing from the terraces. Honestly, fans can be so cruel sometimes.
Nico Klassen. Remember, Nico Klassen was a small. He was very short. Nico Klassen was.
It was like, take your mascot off the pitch. Take your mascot off.
Yeah, Nico Klassen was small. He was
Jose Dominguez, maybe it was. I don't know.
Yeah, Dominguez, I think he was a small player as well. So
Yeah. So I was small and, you know, I didn't quite I tried out. I was talented, you know. I was a midfielder, Kev. I liked spreading the ball, you know. Something that Arsenal could use right now.
Engine room. You're the engine room. See, everything revolves around the midfield. That's why you're in there. See, I like it.
Yeah, and my cousin George used to put ankle weights on me. So when I was
to build you up
and shooting, he used to make me kick penalties and corners with the weights on my ankles. And I'd be like, oh my gosh. And, you know, you realize eventually that as good as you think you are, I was in the boys team at school, my county tried to do something groundbreaking at the time to let me play in the boys team. But back then, you know, they wouldn't let you do things like that. It's very different now. And it's hard. Like when you try and do something and try and be something and you're passionate about it, but then you realize the same thing. I was always in like the running teams in school and the heptathlon I was in. But then when you go to county and you just realize, wow, there are so many talented people out there. Oh, you know, this, Kev, when you're like doing your thing and you're trying to make it as a footballer and you believe in yourself and your talent, but then you also come across some insane talent along the way and you think, wow, you know, but you always believed in you that you would make it, didn't you?
Well, yeah. I mean, I always said to myself, I don't care who's in front of me. There's only one way I've got to go, and that's up and into that team, because I've got the opportunity now. You know, as a young boy going in, you think you're not sure whether you're even going to get taken on. Then they take you on as a YTS, and now it's your job. So, however hard you have to work and however focused you have to be, that's what I've got to be. And it's not as if you're in it for the money, Soph. I was on $27.50 a week. You know what I mean? It's not as if you're in it for the money. You're in it for the love. And that was 1986. 1986 was the first year of YTS, Youth Training Scheme, which obviously flipped over from apprentice. That was the year before. That was the year before. I was 15 there. So it was the next season where I joined full time, and you know, I cleaned every part of that ground, walked up every step with this fella, David. We shoveled snow, we cleaned dressing rooms, we cleaned boots, we cleaned cars, we cleaned the coach, we cleaned dressing rooms, we cleaned toilets, we cleaned the tops of mirrors, we cleaned all the boots. We got Sundays where after a first team game, normally everyone's off. If you got a Sunday, then you'd have to come in, and Tony Donnelly would especially leave the boots dirty for you to clean the next day. Just to disrupt your Sunday. So you come in, you clean the boots, and you could go. That was it.
I love these stories. It's so epic. You know, David got called to commentate tonight for the EFL Cup, which is why the Tuesday-ish club has been pushed. You can't have the Tuesday-ish club without these two together. And Ian Selly's going to be joining us too next week. And so I wanted to kind of carry on the tradition of just having a convo tonight, Kev. There's plenty of time to talk about the North London derby, the best 11. And I've opened it up to everyone to ask us anything they want.
Well, don't ask about the super guest.
Super which?
The super guest.
Oh, on Friday. I haven't told them yet.
Good. Okay.
Well,
I'm just saying, they best not ask.
Yeah.
And Newman better not ask either.
No, he better not. And also, yeah, I'm 5'2". Listen, 5'2", but look, it's 5'7" in stilettos, babies. Just saying.
There you go.
Okay.
Towering. Towering, girl.
I mean, I have played football in stilettos once, by the way, Kev.
Wow.
It wasn't a good idea. It was with a bunch of kids down David Beckham's charity in LA. And I found myself like, they said, do you guys want to play, like, to the media? And I'm like, yes. Why didn't you tell me that we could play? Jeez. So I just went out there in my red stilettos.
Well, of course, red.
Of course. I mean, if you're an Arsenal girl and you do not have a pair of red stilettos, you need to look at yourself in the mirror.
Something's wrong.
Hard.
Or red bottom stilettos. If the bottoms are red, then we'll let you off with that one.
Kev, I even took my I had my fever pitch boxer shorts with me on my trip. You know, you've got to wake up in the morning, give everyone something to smile about, right?
Nice one. Let them know. You're just letting them know. You're letting them know. All right, let's get to a question, Kev. By the way, 27.50. God, you weren't paying rent at that time, right? You were still living with Mama Campbell's, yeah. But don't forget what happened was, I mean, 27.50. Rats can't live on 27.50. Let's be honest. So rats can't live on 27. And I'm there traveling. I'm 16 years old, growing, etc. So most of that went on food. Do you know what I mean? You think about it. Most of that traveling around and all that went on food and travel. There was your parents got some money to look after you at home. So which listen, growing up in Brixton, there weren't a lot of money around at that time. That really helped the family. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean? That's that difference maker. Coming into the family home was another income for us. And it did make a difference to us. So, you know, I didn't want any of that money. Obviously, I couldn't get near it. Mama Campbell, that's part of the shopping and all that. But, you know, I was just happy to be at Arsenal, to be honest with you, Sophie. I was just happy to be on the ladder to success. That's very important. Yeah. You got to get on those rungs, and as you go higher, you keep your eye on that, focused on that prize. Definitely.
Great stuff. Virginia, what are you talking about? You hate red.
Come on, Virginia.
Virginia,
come on.
What's going on? How can you hate red?
Hate red, and you're a Gooner. Come on now, Virginia.
Something wrong with that.
Maybe she means red shoes, but even if she means red shoes, no, Virginia.
No. I mean, gosh, has she not even watched the Red Shoe Diaries?
Exactly.
I mean, that was pretty entertaining back in the day. Kev, a few people are asking, do you remember who the young fella is just basically scaring? He looks scared for England right here. Do you remember who he is?
No, I don't. Because we're playing Cambridge. I had no idea. Remember, I'm a 15-year-old. I didn't even hardly know I was playing. So you come up against, he's probably 17-year-old. So he's, you know, a couple of years older than me. But again, this is the important part of football. If you're going to be playing up, you've got to make an impression. You've got to make an impression. Again, it's about opportunity and taking it. So...
Absolutely. You know what, Kev? People are calling for me to give Virginia a yellow.
I'm sure they are. I could imagine. You know what? Oh, no, Virginia. Yeah. You're going to do it, aren't you? You're going to do it, aren't you?
A yellow card. You can't say you hate red. You just can't, Virginia. I love you to bits. I love how you support Newman's art sometimes. But here's your yellow, and Kev, she's going in the book.
Yeah, Virginia. Sorry, Virginia, but even I can't help you on that one, Virginia. I could tell you, I hate red.
There's no review.
They switched the VAR off once that came out.
That's it. She's done. Yeah, Virginia, sorry. Harsh yellow double ducky, but you know what? I'm sorry. You can't say you hate red. And no, you're not getting yours rescinded just because you said you love
trying it on. Look at this.
And you know what? A lot of people are like, I should have done this one because she said she hates red. So it would have been.
No.
But that would have been a bit harsh.
Yeah, that would have been a bit harsh.
All right, let's get to Kev. I wanted to throw out a
Can you hear me, Soph? I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you, but it stopped. Yeah, I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I can't hear you. I keep talking. Okay. Well, Gooners, here we are. And Virginia, we're not going to restart the show because you got a yellow card, my dear. But listen, let's get in a little bit into the show. This is what I would say. When you play for Arsenal and as a youngster like myself, and you're coming through the ranks, you quickly realise what the club is all about. You quickly realise who the club are when you're on the inside. Because being a fan and coming to the stadium, and you're kind of on the periphery, on the outside, although you're part of the football club, obviously, as a fan base. You know, you're on the outside. But once you get on the inside, the inner sanctum of that football club, and obviously I'm talking from experience of being back then at Highbury, it really teaches you life skills and so much about teamwork, so much about who you are, what you are, who you represent, the Arsenal badge, the football club as a whole, looking after the community, looking after people inside the club as well, people who work at the club, the real important people as well as the players. Because, you know, the operation doesn't work without people in the ticket office. Paddy, who was the caretaker, who's no longer with us, who was he was a spectacular guy, absolutely brilliant. All the stewards, the commissioners, you know, the guys who were at the marble halls, used to wear the full suits with the medals and the hat. It was incredible. It really was incredible to be a part of that. And to be in and around the first team, obviously, and to see what they do, how they train, how they prepare. I mean, it was such an eye-opener for me to see, you know, Charlie Nicholas and Tony Woodcock and David O'Leary and all these guys, the way they train, the work they put in. And, you know, I just thought to myself, wow, look at the work they put in. And at the time, they weren't the best. You're looking at Liverpool. Liverpool were the yardstick. So they're not even the best, and look at the work they put in. And then you look at Liverpool, and Liverpool were the team, obviously, back then. So it was a real eye-opener to be on the inside and the inner sanctum of Arsenal, I could tell you that much.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yep, I could hear you.
And does that sound okay? I'm not blowing anyone's
Eardrums.
anyone's eardrums off.
No.
Okay.
Well,
Kev,
I had
keep,
a nice,
keep
I had a nice
talking.
heart
I was
to-
enjoying
I had a
that.
nice, I had a nice heart to heart, and I'm going to keep going because you know what? I think it's
Keep
important.
going. I'm enjoying. I stayed out for a bit, and I just wanted to come in and keep going because I love
Yeah.
these kinds of stories. Go on, Kev.
You know, like you hear everybody talk about the Tuesday Club, etc. What we used to do, obviously, we used to train at London Colney, but on the Tuesday, we used to train a lot of the times at Highbury. So you'd, as a youngster, we would train. We would be in the away dressing room, and obviously the first team would all be in the home dressing room. You know, we've got the inside the JVC is the AstroTurf. So they're going to play football, and you're thinking, right, we could play some five-a-side in there, the indoor. Oh no, Pat Rice, that ain't for you guys. Come with me. So you know the track around the pitch. We're doing laps. That is what we're doing. We're doing laps. We're doing half laps. We're doing horseshoes. We're doing up the clock end, up the North Bank. We go up into the East Upper. We're carrying people on our back. At the time, it was myself and Alan Miller kind of weighed the same. So who's no longer with us, bless him, you know, Maxi Miller. So I'd be on his back and he'd be on my back, and we'd be carrying each other up from the bottom all the way up to the top. Walk down, change, he'll go. And it was, you know, you're thinking to yourself, you got the clock at the clock end and you're hoping, move quickly, and it never did, Sophie. It never did. But again, Pat Rice was an integral part of teaching us because he'd been captain, you know, I'd supported the club and he'd lifted the FA Cup, etc. You know, he was fundamental in so many players coming through Arsenal, coming through, learning not to be soft. I don't know if anybody can remember a lot of the interviews that the youth team done at the time. You would hear them say, we're lazy, we're this, we're that. Why, Sophie? Because the whole influence of Pat Rice wasn't, you're ready, you're done. You're just starting off in the game. You don't know what to do. You're lazy because you don't understand it. When you start to have all the attributes and you can make it to the first team, you're not lazy anymore. Then you know what to do. And once you know what to do, Sophie, bam, you're buzzing. It's easy then. But we were there learning. I'm a lad from Brixton. I didn't know professional football. You know, you don't know the training habits. You don't know the sacrifice that people have to put in, the hardship, the hard days when you get a knock and having to play through knocks. Because, you know, when you start playing, very rarely you're 100%. Very rare. Once the season starts, very rarely you're actually 100%. But like Pat Rice always said, Soph, the fans in the stand don't want to hear your sob story. They want you to perform. And that's why you're carrying people up the stands. That's why you're doing the laps on the training pitch. That's why you're going up and down, doing figure of eights on the clock end. That's why you're running up from the bottom to the top of the North Bank. You're building yourself up. So when you get out there, you can perform and you're strong in mind. Because it's not always going to go good.
Kev, you know, a few people in chat have been asking, they've been saying like it sounds like being in the military. And I think back then maybe there were certain managers, you know, hard taskmasters who maybe treated it as such. Because when you're in the military, not only are you training physically, you know, to go into battle, but you're also being trained how to be a man, mental strength, all these different types of things. I mean, I know you haven't been in the military, but you've definitely done a lot of work in the communities and stuff like that. I mean, it's pretty, I mean, I know it's hard now, but back then it just felt like because the squads were much smaller, I don't know, it just seemed harder to break through into the first team, harder to find those opportunities, just harder all the way around.
Well, Sophie, what you got to understand as well is, obviously you know, so I'm not trying to teach you how to suck eggs or anything, but back then, the small squads, The players used to play between, if you're in the good teams, you play between 50 and 65 games. And that's a squad of maybe 15, 16 players. Now they've got squads of 20 odd. They can't last. You know, it was a different mentality because I believe, and this is the truth, I believe, when you have that hard mental focus, you get through by any means. When we start getting soft, the club isn't the same. Arsenal ain't built on being a soft team. Arsenal's built on being a mentally and physical tough team. Tough. We get the job done. We grind. And yeah, sometimes it's not pretty, but you know what? We've won 2 games 1-0, Sophie, and people are moaning about, telling me about pretty football. The game's about winning. The game really is about winning because you know what? Nobody remembers the losers. That's George Graham, Pat Rice, Geordie Armstrong. They pump that into... Listen, this is about winning. Football's about winning. If you play great football, hey, brilliant. But if you can't play great football, if you could win the game, do you know what? Those fans will go home happy.
Well, there was a while, Kev, where we were happy to sing from whether it was the North Bank, the Clock End, the upper, the lower. We were happy to sing 1-0 to the Arsenal. I mean, yeah. we just were. And there's a really good question. By the way, Matt, I agree with you. Kev would be amazing with the under-23s. There's a really good question in here for you because there's, you know, of course, everyone's excited at the potential of Charlie Patino starting tomorrow, Kev. And NolaGooner, because you've been there, how do you think he might be feeling tonight, knowing that tomorrow he might be making his debut in the first team? What's that like?
Well, he's excited, and he will know, hopefully he will know. Maybe he doesn't start, but because there's other players who need the game time, in my opinion, especially with Spurs coming up. But I think he'll be on the bench. And that excitement alone, Sophie, for a young lad who's coming through the ranks, and you've watched these players on TV. You know, you see them at training and stuff, or might go with them for training for a bit. But now it's the real thing. Now you're going to see how they prepare in the dressing room. What are they like? Are they demanding? You find so much out when you're around the first team. You really do. You find so much out. And he's a young kid who's very talented. And what I really don't want to happen, Soph, is for anyone to put any pressure on him. Let him be him. Let him just, if he gets on, he gets on. And if he does great, great. And if he don't do so great, that's fine too. Let him enjoy being in and around it at the Emirates in a cup game. Let him be involved. Let him go and warm up, and maybe the fans will sing his name a little bit. Let him enjoy that experience, because you know what? It's so important for a young man like him to get that feeling for the club. Because it's one thing being in the youth team and people are writing nice stuff about you. You know the levels go up. Once you hit that first team, the scrutiny's totally different when you're in the first team. And it doesn't matter your age. So I'd like to put a protective arm around him. Great that he might get an opportunity. But let's not put too much pressure on the young man. Let him, if he's going to play at any stage, we give him a great welcome.
I agree, Kev. And also, if he plays and it's not so great, you know, just take a beat before you say, oh, you know, another player we've overhyped. You know, we're the ones that overhype him. The media, the fans, the club are managing him and his process the way they should. And hopefully he won't be someone who's rushed into the team, Kev. They'll take their time. hopefully have we learned our lessons from Cesc Fabregas and Jack Wilshere? No, because look at what we're doing to Saka and Emile Smith-Rowe right now. We don't want to burn them out. And Patino, according to many, including a good friend of the show, Dave Seeger, who writes for Gunners Town, they wrote a great article about him. People say that he's more talented than any of those players.
Here's the thing, Soph. Talent isn't enough. I could tell you that. You speak to any ex-player, they've known players who could hide the ball. You know what I mean? Make the ball vanish. But they never made it, Soph. Because it's not just about talent. You need a lot more. You need a lot more mentally, physically, in order to get the best out of that talent. Does he have that? We don't know. So again, let's pump the brakes a little bit. Let's take it easy. And he's a young kid who we should be embracing to go and enjoy yourself. Just go and enjoy it. You know, let's not put too much pressure on him. Then once he starts to make up, he starts going up the levels, then fair enough, you know, he's starting to get more of a grip of it. Then we could demand a little bit more, like we are of the Sakas and Smith-Rowes, which we've always said we shouldn't be relying on these young boys. Or young men, should I say. They're 20 years old. But we are. But now we're starting to see a little bit of reinforcements with Gabriel coming back, Tommy Arsu in there, Ben White at the back, even Kieran Tierney. And Ben White and Kieran Tierney didn't have their greatest games against Burnley. But you know what, Sophie? We kept a clean sheet. I've seen, when I played, sometimes the back 4 or 5 never had a great games. But you know what? We came away with a 1-0. That's the name of the game.
I think for us right now, you know, it's at some point when we play the better teams, we're going to have a better performance, aren't we, Kev? I mean, that's just the reality.
100%. 100%.
These 2 games, it was 6 points. That's what mattered. That's my personal viewpoint on it. Yes, do I wish that we took more chances in both games? Absolutely. Do I wish our finishing was more clinical? 100%. But at the end of the day, we got the 6 points and we needed to do that. We're definitely going to need a better performance against Tottenham. But Martin, I haven't heard it, unfortunately, but I will listen to it. Kev, have you been able to hear Mertesack's interview? We will listen to it and we will address your questions and let you know what we think of it later on this week. Maybe when we're doing Kevin Says and stuff like that. We'll definitely talk about it. Was there something glaring in there? Is that why you're asking? Let us know if there was. Dom, question for you both. You can select any player currently playing in a Premier League team to join Arsenal. Who will it be and why? Oh, I love questions like this. Okay.
Any player in the Premier League? Any
player in the Premier League.
Lukaku.
Mo Salah.
Lukaku for me. I think we desperately need someone with size at the top end of the pitch, someone who could put the ball away, and someone who can hold it up. I think it's really important for Arsenal to be able to have somebody like that. And Mo Salah, I mean, his goals have been incredible, haven't they? But I think Lukaku for me is the one.
You know, for me, I think that Salah is kind of, I'm not going to say disrespected, but very underappreciated. His goal ratio, I mean, if he was, I don't know what it is about Mo Salah and why he doesn't get the same respect as some other, like Harry Kane gets. But, you know, maybe that's because he's not the England golden boy. But I would love, Mo Salah to me fits the Arsenal way as well. Do you know what I mean? There's something about him, the way he plays, his style, everything. So, yeah, and we got Mane's here. We got, Bruno Fernandes is Fernandes, whatever you want to call him. If he doesn't play for you, he's the kind of player that you just want to punch, literally. He is not likable at all, is he? No. Not at all. Virginia, I gave you a yellow card and then my microphone exploded.
Yeah, well, Virginia, you know what? Kante beside Thomas Partey, now that's a midfield.
Never going to happen.
No, but they're asking, we have to choose
Yeah.
one. So I'm just
Yeah.
saying that would be a midfield and a half. Van Dijk, yeah.
That's a good
Imagine,
one.
could you imagine Van Dijk and Gabriel? Woo!
Nah, I don't
But
want Harry Kane anymore.
our problem's goals. That's
Yeah.
what bothers me. Our problem's goals.
Reiner, are you joking? Kepa, come on.
He's having a laugh.
He's having a laugh. Mertesacker interview was levels above the one Adu did the other week. Okay, well, we haven't had a chance to listen to it today, but we will, and we will get back to you, guys, on our feelings for it. But, you know, again, stop talking, everybody. I understand if it was a great interview, fantastic. Can we just let our talking happen on the pitch for the next few weeks instead of giving all these bloody interviews to everybody? It's just getting a bit old for me. We were always a private club and just did things in such a way. And now we feel like we have to spill our guts out just to appease certain fans and the media. Just stop. I mean, if Per's interview was good and he uplifted everybody and he's made everyone feel good and he was honest, great. But we just talk too much. Every single morning I wake up and there's a new quote from Arteta. And I get it, Kev. They've got to do their interviews after training and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But, you know, just be a bit more Pep or Mourinho about it. Just give one-word answers sometimes. It's just like...
No, but you
whatever.
can't, you see, because they will press you on it. So, listen, you know as well as I do what the press are like. One-word answers don't work. They want you to explain yourself. And you know as well as I do, there's ways around it. There's ways to say things but not say things. Mm-hmm. And they're probably not that... Arteta's probably not that used to being in front of the camera all the time to navigate round the press. So that's something that he's going to have to get better at.
You know what, Kev? And the guys are reminding me, well done, squaddies. It's true. This documentary, this is all part of that. They're all sitting doing their interviews and then they're utilising the content from it because there's probably no embargo, full embargo. They're able to release some of it to the press and the media. So I don't know. I just wish we'd just stop talking for a while. Right, let's get to another. Is Kante still only 29? I mean, geez, he's still young.
He's a baby.
Let's see. Per said many interesting things. Expressed he hoped Arteta would have the time he needs to continue to. Okay, PR stuff. Anyway, yeah, Salah's not English, so he doesn't get as much love. Okay, Kev. I want to ask you a question, but I'm going to let Lone Star get stuck in. Who was your most difficult opponent and why?
I get asked this all the time, and you don't really have a most difficult opponent. You know, because there's certain days, when you play for Arsenal, there's days where you have the best of most of the teams. And there's days where you don't get better of them. So remember, everyone's professional. Everyone's professional. And you do your homework and you play and you win the game, etc. I mean, my hardest times were on the training pitch against that back five, if I'm honest with you. Not necessarily one particular player. So
were they all as tough as each other, or was there one that was more of a menace than the others?
No, I mean, you play against good players. Paul McGrath was a good player, and he had knee issues. He was brilliant. You know, Franco Baresi and the AC Milan team we played against, they were fantastic. But, you know, we drew 0-0 at home, and they beat us 2-0 out there. And when we played out there, he never played. He played at Highbury, but didn't play out there. So, you know, you play against these quality guys, playing against Marcel Desailly and all these kind of guys, top World Cup winning guys, and you get the better of them, and they get the better. This is football. That's the name of the game. So,
is there one player, Kev, that you loved getting the better of, just like you couldn't wait, just to put someone in their place?
Every game. No, it's every game, Sophie. You see, because the mindset that never changes. You always want to dominate your opponent. You don't always do it, let me tell you. That's for sure. You don't always do it. But that's what you set out to do from the start. You set out to dominate them. That's it. That's the name of the game.
Interesting. Yeah, Paul McGrath, he was a beast.
He was brilliant.
Of it too, Kev. And I mean, can you imagine if he wasn't a partier as well? Where seriously, back in the day.
I mean, if he didn't have knee problems, if he didn't have the knee problems, because he never used to train, Soph. He used to go on a bike probably two days a week. He'd go through set pieces or whatever, just walk through, and that was it.
But
incredible.
But there were certain players that, like when you think about if Gaza hadn't have drank so much, if McGrath hadn't, like Tony cleaned up his act and he was able to have a second act, which was unbelievable. But, the nutritional part and the clean living part and all that came really once the Premier League kicked in, didn't it? And the money went up and the game really changed, not only that day in terms of the league and the influx of Sky Sports and stuff, but it changed from, and of course Wenger had a lot to do with that. Sir Alex Ferguson has said it too, like just how players trained and lived compared to the 80s and.
Here's the funny thing though, Soph. Here's the funny thing. For all these newfangled ways, why is it that the players then could still play and the players now can't?
And they used to eat everything, Kev. There was no nutritional diet back then. People had a fry-up. Players would have a fry-up before a game, or they'd go out on the boozer the night before. And
Sophie, they'd have steak and chips pre-match and a Guinness. Steak and play on a Saturday. I mean, it's incredible.
So this is where, how some of us call some modern day footballers weak sauce. There is some truth to that, isn't there, Kev? I don't want to put you on the spot by calling fellow professionals weak sauce, but I mean, some of them just are soft. They're a soft touch.
Yeah. It's changed. It's changed, Sophie. It's changed. And you know what it is, Sophie? It's the mentality. It's the mentality of it that has changed. Because whether you prepare right or you don't, it's the mentality that the player has to have to get through. Any little niggle now, bruise or bump, I can't say everyone. They're well paid for it, etc., which is fine. You deserve to be well paid because you've made it. But that mentality, that toughness that we say we miss from Arsenal, I haven't seen it. After the game on Saturday, the way I saw the Arsenal players being with each other, I haven't seen that in a long time, Sophie.
I agree.
And you know what? That filled me with a bit of joy. So I've got to say, and I'm not saying we are the finished article, and I'm not saying we are the best team in the world. But you start to understand. You see from the left-hand side of your chest, that heart. We're starting to look like we've got a bit of heart in this team. Because you know what? Going to Burnley after just winning one game, and they put it on us, and we stood up to it. It means a lot.
Kev, from a player point of view, I totally understand that. And also from a fan point of view, I saw what happened when Tierney was on the ground in that game and Ramsdale stepped in and pushed the Burnley player away, and Gabriel then did the same.
Yes.
And, before I think we've seen some bizarre, I can't remember the game, like bizarro, where no one would protect one of our players, really kind of bizarre situations where someone was either pushed or, there was a little argy-bargy and there was no kind of like, don't touch my boy, don't touch my brother in arms, Kev.
So you mentioned a great point, even in pre-season at Spurs, where Højbjerg was having to go at Arteta,
Yes.
And the only one to react was Granit Xhaka. Now we're starting to see more players there on the pitch. This is what we need. Because you've got to have that feeling for each other. It's not, and here's the crazy thing, Soph, it's not that we are preaching, we want to fight, but it's us against them out there. And the more you see it, the more you then start to like what you're seeing. We're not playing great football at the moment, but you know what? I want to see Arsenal with a toughness about them, with a tough mentality. We go 1-0 up, we don't get beat. You see it through, and they did. And you know what? That ticks a box. There's a lot of boxes to tick, but that ticks a significant box. We can step up to it. We can do it. And the way Ramsdale and Gabriel and Tommy Arsenal and all the boys after were hugging each other, that's what I like. That's what I want to see.
And fans really like seeing that. They like to see that unity and that togetherness. Right, 52 minutes in. We just got, sorry about the sound problem. And someone I think is just tuning in and listening. Keep listening. We overcome the sound problem. And for those of you listening on replay as well, we do apologize. I don't know what happened. I gave a yellow card out and then someone sabotaged my microphone and it sounded like we were being invaded by aliens, Kev.
Listen, it was the gremlin, the red shoe gremlin. The red shoe gremlin.
Why don't we quickly talk about tomorrow? We're going to carry this on, by the way, you guys. We'll probably do something similar later on this week. And we've got our YouTube comments to read out to everybody too, which are always really entertaining. Zamir, I want to see that mentality when we're against it and going through adversity. Easy to show that against weaker opposition when you win. Zamir, we're bottom of the Premier League. It does not get more adverse than that.
And it is adverse. Yeah, you're right. It is adverse because, Zamir, let's be truthful. We shouldn't be where we are in the league. There's no way we should be where we are. But we are where we are, and it takes strong minds to get wins because, do you know what? Norwich have no pressure on them. Burnley, no pressure on them.
Yep.
All the pressure is on us to perform. Keep 2 clean sheets, yeah. He's only the odd goal, but you know what? 1-0 to the Arsenal, we'll take it. And you know what? I'll take another one of them on Sunday if you don't mind.
Oh, I would take that every day of the week on Sunday for sure. Right. Hey, you guys, let's talk real quick about tomorrow night because I'd love a run. I'd love a good run in the EFL Cup, Kev. I'd love to win it. Haven't won it since 93. It's been a long time. It eluded Wenger, even though he won copious amounts of FA Cups. The League Cup always seemed to be one that we would push to the side, especially as we had 20 plus years of Champions League football, Kev. But for Arteta to win this one and this team to win this one and add it to the FA Cup wins over the last few years, I would love to win the League Cup and give this a go. What team are you fielding in order for that to happen, Kev?
Well, I think what the manager's going to do, he can field a strong team, but there are players who need games. And let's be honest, there are players who probably need to play in this game to keep them ready if called upon on Sunday. The likes of Lacazette. Want to see Martinelli. You know, Martinelli's there. He needs game time. Probably Smith Rowe will play. Probably Sambi Lokonga will play. You know, players like that. We might see Mohamed El Neni. We might not. But Rob Holding might play. Gabriel, wrap him in cotton wool. Wrap that man in cotton wool. Wrap him in cotton wool.
And Thomas Partey.
Yeah, wrap them in cotton wool. I'd rather them rest this game and be ready for the big game on Sunday. But again, Charlie Patino got mentioned. I'd like to see him involved in the squad. It's a game we need to win. But Sophie, you mentioned 99. I was in the last team that won the League Cup. It's too long.
You were. I know.
It's too long.
I know. I mentioned that. When I mentioned that to you a couple of weeks ago, I was like, that is insane.
It's crazy.
That's over 25 years.
And that's
I'm not very good at maths, by the way, you guys.
And that's
but
all
I'm
the
sure
Arsene Wenger, the invincible squads. We couldn't get it done then.
No.
And listen, I know it's maybe not one of the favoured cups, but you know what? When you win it, you're still so proud because it's silverware.
Yeah, I mean, and it's a domestic trophy that, listen, look how seriously Pep Guardiola, someone said it in chat just now too, Pep Guardiola doesn't mess about with the domestic cups.
He wants trophies. He wants success.
He wants trophies,
Yes,
absolutely.
he wants success no matter what. And do you know what, Sophie? Normally, there's only 3 trophies you can win in a season if you're not in Europe. Only 3. And if you could win one out of all the teams, obviously the Premier League is just you and another 19 teams. But the 2 cups involve virtually everybody. If you could win one of them, you've done well. I'm telling you, you have done well. And people can call it what they like. Mickey Mouse Cup. Do you know what? Got the medal. It's in history. And I've had the picture with the team. You see the team picture today, Sophie? Mm-hmm. No silverware in front of them. Looks a lot better when you got your team picture with a bit of silverware in front.
Yep. And you know what it's like to have
Big
silverware.
Time. Silverware makes such a huge difference
You
to
guys
everybody.
Did that.
To everybody, Soph. It makes such a huge difference to everybody at the football club. And not only the players, Sophie, the coaching staff, the people who work in the club, like I was mentioning after we had the break, and I was kind of doing one-to-one with the squaddies. People who work behind the scenes, people who work in the ticket office, people who do the stewards, the commissioners, people who work in the boxes, hospitality. It's everybody, because you know what? Everybody goes and everybody wins together. Everybody wins together. It
breeds an insatiable appetite to do it over and over and over again.
To win. You've got to have that will to win. And we haven't had it. We haven't had it.
We've had the opportunities, and there's moments where you think to yourself, damn, if we'd have won the Premier League that season Leicester did, if we'd have gone on from that Welbeck header and finished our business and won the league then, what the trajectory of everything? It's like the yellow brick road, Kev, where...
Once you get on it.
You got the fork, right? And it's like one decision, a victory takes you down one road, another takes you down another road.
And we've gone down the other road.
Yeah, and we've definitely had that opportunity, and now, like Tampa Bay and some of other guys, we're trying to reignite a DNA and a winning culture. Now,
Sophie,
we tasted that. He won the FA Cup. Yes, Kev.
Do you know why we didn't win the league? Do you know why?
Mentally, I think
because the mentality
of our team. Correctly, yeah. It was a bit weak. It was weak sauce, Kev.
Yeah, the mentality. Because you know what? The top teams, once they beat Leicester, they know this is it. They know that's the moment. Now we push on. But we couldn't. Yeah, we couldn't raise ourselves.
We had players like Bellerin saying that Sanchez was too hard in training.
And you often hear me say, you look around the dressing room, you look to your right and you see Tony Adams, Dave Seaman, Lee Dixon, Nigel Winterburn, Steve Bold, Rocky, Paul Davis, Michael Thomas, Kevin Richardson. You see all these players. You look the other side, you got Merce, Smudger, all these guys, Quinny. You got winners. You got winners there. Eels, joining, Sells, Stephen Morrow. Our boys that came through the ranks. Sells a bit younger. Ray Parlers are coming through the rank. But built mentally to win. So you got to realise, they're going for the title, we're going for the title. You beat them at home. Come back and you beat them. Right. Let's have it now. We know we got them. The mentality, that's why that team, the fans were happy, but they can't relate to this team. Or that team, should I say.
Yeah. I think one of the things that's been really hard for Arsenal fans, Kev, and you look at it from a player perspective, but also as a fan, in the last 3 or 4 seasons especially, this team's been kind of unlikable,
100%, yeah.
I've always felt like with the team, even if we played poorly or lost a game, even that Leicester season, there was some fight, but not enough. And like we said, mentally we just fell apart.
Not there.
Right?
Yeah, we're not there.
But but there were times where, like a Santi in the team. I loved Alexis Sanchez. I don't care what anyone says. I loved Robin van Persie. He had a bit of the dirty about him, but he was so talented, so much fun to watch. Like for me, Sanchez is the last player that we've had that gets you off your feet with excitement. Off your seat, on your feet. And we just lacked that a lot. Like the last 2 seasons, especially. Like last season, I think a lot of fans had apathy towards these players. Not the club. They love the Arsenal, but these players, there wasn't much to like about them. Is that fair?
100%. Do you know what, Sophie? This is probably why I get myself into a bit of water. I get called deluded and all that kind of thing. Because I always say it's the players. For me, the football club, what's going on behind the scenes, there's been, obviously, not been great a lot of the time. But what the players do on the pitch could make a real influence on the fan base. And last season, I know it's difficult and there's no fans in, etc., etc. But you see the best teams still produce the results, if you understand what I mean. They still were there. They still would go for it. They still would be difficult to beat. They still would have that camaraderie. Arsenal never really had it. And we spoke about the manager trying to change things internally, but he needs results. And how do you... It's difficult sometimes to do both. We said it was probably the best January we had. And remember, we then started to see a change in our fortunes a bit. Wasn't fully how we wanted it, but we started to see the team start to pick more points up in the second half of the season. But what we saw on Saturday, attitude-wise, I have not seen in an Arsenal team for a long, long time.
And players do change that. I mean, Tomiyasu seems like I think people need to understand too, like when you're an Asian player and he's a megastar in his country. It's like when Son came, to Tottenham, not a lot of people knew about him, but in South Korea, he's a national hero, the dude. And it's like when a Greek player, Socrates for us winning the FA Cup, being the only Greek player to do that. That's a big deal for Greek people.
Of course it is.
That's why we supported Baghdadis in tennis and why we're supporting Tsitsipas. It doesn't happen to us often that we have these types of athletes and stuff like that, Kev. So I just wonder how many of these players would have made it in your dressing room back in the day.
I think Gabriel would. I think he's made of the right stuff. He is. I think anybody who is willing to put the body on the line, Soph, I think could make it. Or you'd be accepted. That's the better word. You'd be accepted in. Because if you were a player and you were, one, were selfish, two, you were all about yourself, and three, you weren't a team player. You couldn't make it in my day. You couldn't make it. because the sum of the parts don't never beat the whole. Never. So you had to be a team player, and the key was the W, to win. That's what we were built on. That's what George Graham from day one spoke to us about. There's a team in Liverpool that wear red. They have got the target on their back for me. So if you want to get on the train, great. If you want to get off the train, he said, come and see me, and I'll make sure you can go somewhere else. That's day one, Soph.
It's amazing. Amazing. I love these stories. Someone just tried to take the P and said, Greece have never won a game in the World Cup, so I had to remind them, Kev,
European
trivia
champion.
question.
European
exactly.
European champion, yeah.
I mean, yeah. Thank you, Winston. It was a good clap back. Right, Kev, predictions for tomorrow. I mean, this is a game that we should win convincingly. I'd love Balogun to come in and grab a couple goals, and I think we're going to win this one. We should win it 5-0, 6-1, but it's never easy.
I'm going to go 4-1. I'll go 4-1. Definitely 4-1.
I'm going to go 5-1. Maybe someone gets a hat trick tomorrow, Kev.
And you know what? I'd love it to be Balogun. I really would, for his confidence.
I'd love it to be him or Martinelli, Kev.
Yeah, listen, and that will cause the manager a problem. That's what we want.
Yes.
We want whoever plays to be firing. That's what we want.
Yes.
Yes. And if a young player comes in and looks the part and scores the goals, he's asking a question of the manager. Any manager wants that problem.
When I started the show yesterday, I said, look, we're going to try and be really positive this week. We got 2 wins, 6 points, hopefully a win in the EFL Cup tomorrow night. We're leading up to the North London derby. Let's try and be positive and look at things in maybe a different light. There's no need for us to dig and dig out players at this point unless they rhyme with rapper. Cheeky. But Kev, that's what I want. I want us, and we're going to have these conversations and stuff. Now, tomorrow you're working.
Yeah.
Aren't you?
Yeah, I'm working tomorrow.
I'll be on after the game tomorrow. So come join us for a post-game show tomorrow.
No, I'll be on after the game. Don't worry about that.
Oh, okay.
I'll be on with you after the game. Yeah, I'll be on with you after the game.
Okay, lovely. In the meantime, Kev, we haven't done this yet tonight. We've been very engrossed in our conversation. It's been nice and mellow apart from the alien attack, which was completely bizarre. But why don't we do a little bit of this? Because there were 400 people.
It's it, Vinny, go on. Smash it up. Smash it, kiss it, lick it, nut it, nose it. It don't matter. Just hit that like button if you hate Tottenham and you love the Arsenal. Nice
exactly.
And simple.
And we've been on air for an hour and 10 minutes, Kev.
It's felt like 5 minutes.
I know. And
it's gone so quick.
It has gone so quick. So yeah, we're going to team lineup for tomorrow, Kev, if you had to pick one. This is what the most popular question is in chat, if you had to give everyone your starting 11.
Leno, Maitland-Niles, Holding, Mari, Tavares, or whatever you call it.
Tavares.
Midfield will be Sambi and probably El Neni in midfield. Attacking wise will probably be on the left-hand side, Martinelli. On the right-hand side, I might go with Pepe. Lacazette through the middle, and in the number 10, Smith Rowe.
I like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll stick with that.
Yeah.
And thank you, Caps, for that. And thank you to everyone. Over the last 4 or 5 months, it's been amazing. Almost 3,000 new folks have joined us just in the last 4 months, and it's been absolutely incredible. We couldn't do it without you. This show would be zero without you. Mo wants to save Laka for Sunday. I say let him get out there, Kev. Little bit of a run, get those legs going. He hasn't played a lot of football, has he?
70 minutes. Give him 70 minutes tomorrow.
Yeah.
Give him 70 minutes. And if Pepe don't start, might be Reece Nelson. Who starts
Why not give Reece?
Who starts on the right-hand side.
We do have options. We do.
Yeah.
Well, look, we're going to be back after the match tomorrow night. We'll do some more chit-chatting then. Hopefully we'll get to see Patino make an appearance of some kind. Let's hope that we get through and we're able to push on, Kevin.
Be in the
competition.
hat.
It'll be
in
great.
the hat. As long as we're in the hat, that's what matters. That is what
But
matters.
you're not pulling. They're not pulling them this
I
time.
know.
Kev.
Listen,
Come
I know. Someone else is going to get that opportunity, and as long as we're at home, we'll be all right. I'm sure.
That's right, Nelson. Nelson's on loan. He's in the Netherlands.
Sorry. Yes,
Yeah,
he
we
is.
had a
He
brain
can't-
fart. We had a brain fart.
Sorry. That's me. Deluded. Remember, I'm deluded. Matt.
Listen, I mean, we had an alien attack. Give us a break, okay? It was traumatic.
I got it wrong. No, Soph, I got it wrong. It's all right. Or someone else, whoever can play there, because Smith Rowe could play there. We could do something maybe a little bit different tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
We really could.
I wouldn't mind Pepe playing, because Pepe's the type of player that just needs to play.
Confidence.
And confidence. And if he can go out and boss this game and get a couple goals that take him into the North London derby, I don't mind. He's pretty resilient too. I mean, he's slight, but
He's
you know,
tough.
God, I don't want to book him, but he's tough. Yeah,
he's
for
tough.
sure.
He's young. He could withstand it. He's all right.
Definitely. Anyway, look, if it was down to me, I'd play him for sure. Right, that's it. Kev, you got anything else for the troops? I've got one thing here, of course. Just have to remind everybody about the Football Prizes shirt that's up for grabs now. It's Arsene Wenger signed and custom framed shirt. It's only $6.95 plus £1.
Oh no. Oh, Sophie, no. Oh no, you're going to give people nightmares now. You know that, don't you? Jesus, please.
The day our transfer prowess died.
Oh,
They offered £1. God damn. Oh, gosh. All right, Kev, over to you. That's good stuff. Nice and mellow today. Lovely football chat. Apologies again for the implosion in the middle with the aliens. I guess that was the VAR crew and the board of directors asking me to take a look at Virginia's yellow card. Like every card that is brandished on the show, there will be a review, and we will give you our findings tomorrow night. Kev, it's over to you.
Okay, well, Sophie, always hostess with the mostest. Lovely talking to you. And you worked the gremlin out of the system, which was brilliant. Squaddies, always fantastic coming back to see you after yesterday being away watching my son. And here's what I've got to say. We've got to win tomorrow. We need some goals. We need another win going into the North London derby on Sunday. So, Squaddies, support the team. Look out for the camaraderie. And me and Sophie salute you.
Mind the gap between the train and the platform. Please stand clear of the discussion doors. The next stop is Highbury Squad.